What is going on, YouTube people? Today, just a quick one. We got some news out of Fanatics finally officially addressing the Pittsburgh event. This comes via Sports Collectors Daily. Got an official statement from Fanatics that the PNC Park show that was supposed to happen at the end of September has been officially canceled. Now, this has been in the rumor stage since really the New York Fanatics Fest. When I was walking around that show floor, I heard from multiple people that I trust in this sports card space that the Pittsburgh event was off. Unfortunately, I do not have the contacts at Fanatics to be able to confirm things like this, so I kind of hinted at it a few different times and rumor mongered it. But it is now 100% official. I actually canceled my hotel about 2 weeks ago. I think right after I got back from New York, honestly. I ended up canceling my hotel for this show. I'm kind of sad. I was excited to see what a card show in PNC Park would look like, because this was just going to be a more traditional, little bit bigger local show, basically 100, maybe 200 tables. And I was always jealous of Costa Cards show that he puts on at Fenway. I've always thought that looked really, really cool. And with Pittsburgh only being a short 2-hour drive, I was looking forward to check this out. I know a bunch of my local friends as well were excited about this show. I am glad I booked a refundable hotel. And that kind of leads me into something I've been, harping on them for quite a while now. And they cite not enough time to get this up and running. Fanatics, you guys have got to get better communication around these events. Attendees, more so, dealers too, but attendees really, if you want to pull people from out of town, even a little bit of out of town, you can't burn people on this. Now, maybe I jumped the gun, maybe this is on me. I booked a hotel right when word about this came out because I know I usually like to stay on site. There are a handful of hotels right down by PNC Park. I think there's at least like 4 or 5 that you could easily walk to PNC Park from there, but it was a Saturday night. And at the time, we didn't know the Steelers' schedule yet. And that is a potential football weekend. And those hotels would have went crazy if the Steelers happened to be home that weekend. So I booked a hotel. Now, luckily enough, I had the foresight to make sure I booked something that was cancelable. Some hotels are not, or it depends on the way that you book them. This one, I actually paid more if I would have used the hotel to make it refundable. Now, imagine I didn't do that and I just heard, oh, cool, Fanatics Events is coming to Pittsburgh. Great. I want to stay downtown that night. It'll be a fun little thing. And I booked it and I was like, I don't need to book the refundable one. I'd have been out the hotel stay, or I'm going to Pittsburgh just to kind of hang out, which is still kind of, downtown Pittsburgh around the stadiums is pretty nice. Not so much when the Pirates aren't home, but you get my point. I'd have been pissed. And I don't know how many people ran out and booked for this because they really didn't market it a ton. It wasn't like it was really out there. They said it, they spoke it. It was on various interviews and stuff that they did. It was mentioned, hence why I knew to book the dates. So, like I said, maybe I jumped the gun a little bit, but now leading forward to Orlando, and they do confirm here, Orlando is still on. It is November 1st through the 3rd, which is really not that far away. And we don't know anything about this show. The rumor is it's 900 tables. That rumor's been floating around for months now. Nobody knows if that's true. I'm assuming that it is. I've been told the Orlando Convention Center is massive, but this plays into the same thing. There should be clear communication on this by now. And I know that they've spoken to dealers. I saw EJ on Instagram had communicated to dealers about, existing dealers that were already in the Fanatics event, circuit, basically the people that did New York. They were already reached out to about doing tables for this show. And they've also already reached out to additional dealers. And I believe they were getting ready to open things up to anyone that wanted to apply for a table at this, though I'm not 100% sure that that's happened yet. That's just one side of the equation. We are basically just under 2 months out, and we don't really know, let's just call it hundreds of dealers to fill that convention center. And you're kind of waiting until the last minute, in my opinion. People need to plan travel in their lives. And then on top of it, you need to make sure attendees can get there. It's great. If you get 900 of the best dealers in the country in that room, fantastic. But if you don't start marketing and get details out there until a month before, how many people are going to throw their schedules out the window and head to Orlando for the weekend? And I don't know. I don't know the Orlando or the Florida card scene well enough. Is there enough locals to support a show that size without people traveling in? I'm sure Florida has a great card scene. I don't know because I don't live down there. I don't go to the couple shows that they have. So feel free to fire off in the comments down below. I think Tampa and Palm Beach does. West Palm does a card show, I think. And there's some other ones down there. I'm sure there's a bunch of local shows. Is there enough people to satiate, let's just call it conservatively 600 tables, to satiate 600 dealers? Is there enough money in the room? Is there enough people in the room to go around to fulfill what those dealers need to offset the travel costs and the setup costs? Now, I have heard that the setup costs for this show are much more in line. It's not $3,000, $4,000 a table like Fanatic Fest in New York was. I think the number that I'd heard thrown around was a few $100s, like maybe $300-400, which seems perfectly fine for a 3-day show in a massive convention center, especially one. Once they announce, they'll probably market the hell out of this thing. But the problem is just the time frame. I know myself. I have been toying with the idea of trying to get to this show since Pittsburgh was canceled. It's not ideal. It's not looking fantastic for me, but I'm at least poking around things. But I would love to know more information about this event before committing the travel for it. My wife and I had to mess around with our existing vacation because of work obligations that she had. So now we're trying to figure out what we want to do. And part of that might be, do we want to wrap something in, and I could swing into Orlando for a couple days, and then, we'll spend the rest of the week doing other stuff. That's in play. We just did the whole Disney thing last year, so I'm not ready for round 2 of Disney and Universal Studios again. But there's a bunch of stuff that we could do other than that. But planning is tough when we don't have a lot of information about this event. If they announce and it's a 300 table show, I'm less interested in trying to get to that. I could go to a 300 table show here a lot easier. Ships isn't quite that big, but I have Ships. I could go to Philly. I could go to Chantilly. I could go to Nashville potentially. They have a really big card show that I've heard good things about. But if this is some 800-900 table monster, I'm going to be more inclined to try to make it down for that. But we need this information. And I get it. I'm going to give them a little bit of a pass. This is their first time through with this stuff. But clean and clear communication, in my mind, should be one of the easiest things to do. Hey, here's the dates. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we're shooting for. And maybe they're trying to get, and maybe good on them, I guess, trying to get a better idea of how big this thing's going to be once they see commitment from dealers. Because the other thing that you don't want, to play devil's advocate on the other hand, is I don't want Fanatics to be like, hey, boys and girls, 900 table show, Orlando Convention Center. Come on down and check this thing out. It's going to be the best. And they only get 400 dealers to sign up, and they can't fill the room. And now I've traveled, and a bunch of other people have traveled all the way down there because they heard about this wonderful 900 table show. And we all get there and it's 400 tables. That's not good either. But because they've pushed this so far, now we're in this time bind. So I don't know. I'm in wait and see mode on whether or not I will attend. I'm sure if you live down in Florida or the southeast region of the country, you're probably jacked for this and hope that it is a massive show, because you guys don't really have a flagship show down there. Like I said, I'm sure there's some decent sized ones in Florida. You guys have Culture Collision, which is a couple hundred table show, but you don't have a big, massive tentpole show. And if this truly is an 800 to 900 table show, like was been rumored in the Orlando Convention Center, that's basically like a national almost. An 800 to 900 table show is huge. Huge. That is no joke. So, and if they could pull that off down there, you know, this, to me, this big, massive card show event is the one, you know, Steve and I and a few others have talked about this on Off Centered. This is the one that could actually put a little pressure on the National, because this is just their straight card show. There's no, to the best of my knowledge, no real pomp and circumstance around this one. There's not going to be WWE entrances. There's not going to be, you know, MLB softball competitions and 100-yard dashes. It's just going to be cards, which is why the dealer, you know, and then the dealer space is a lot less. And the entry fee for a ticket to enter this event will probably be a lot less than what Fanatics Fest was. So if all of a sudden you have these 900 table shows traveling around the country every few months, that could impact the National. Because now all of a sudden, if you're West Coast, Northwest, Southeast, Southwest, whatever, and the National's in Chicago, you could save yourself to travel and be like, hey, I live in Alabama. I could just scoot over to Florida, get a 900 table card show once a year, and I'm good. You know, I get my one big weekend of cards, plus the family and the kids get some Mickey Mouse ears out of it. Cool. Done. And I don't got to travel to Chicago. Flying in and out of Orlando. Well, Chicago, never mind. O'Hare is easy to get in and out of. But Orlando is just as easy to get in and out of. I mean, there's a billion flights a day that go to Orlando, and they are designed for travel. The whole city is literally built around people traveling in and out of it. So just give me a little bit better communication. It was my one major gripe about Fanatics Fest New York that was lacking, and I am seeing a pattern here leading into Orlando. Hopefully after this one, they can right the ship and set, I feel like they rushed into these first couple. Reset your calendar and start planning these things out a little bit better to get clear and concise communication to your dealers and your show attendees. Because I think whether you love or hate Fanatics, them putting on a really good card show is a win for everybody across the country. If they can successfully pull off a 900 table card show and move it around the country to different locations, that is a win for everyone. Whether you think Fanatics makes the crappiest product in the world, if they can put on a good card show and move that around the country, that serves the hobby and the sports card world and the non-sports card world more than anything else that they could possibly do, to be honest. So it's in all of our best interest for this to succeed, especially this one in particular, because this is the pure card show. So I don't know. Curious about your thoughts and comments down below. Will you be attending the Orlando event? Is it on your radar? Are you sad about the Pittsburgh event? That's all I got for you, boys and girls. Catch you on the next one. Peace.